Good evening and welcome to tonight's Berardi and Cook. This is off the back of the Palace home game. As you can tell from my tone, not the happiest of games for us as Leeds fans. I am joined by Carl. Carl was also at the game.
Hello.
How are you doing, Carl?
Yes. I was all right up until about 50 minutes. And now I'm not great.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'll tell you what we'll do.
I feel like ER or something.
Marvin the paranoid android.
Yeah.
We'll get an intro going and I guess we better get into it.
Hi, this is Don Matteo and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
You look like fucking Brolin, you're a Leeds eating bastard. Look
like some sort of fucking weird floating head. No.
You tensile play it a bit, innit?
I mean, I feel a bit right, dickhead.
Nothing spectacular, really.
Nothing spectacular, really. I think that pretty much sums up the second half.
Yeah.
So let's start off by talking about the first half.
Yeah.
Brilliant brand of football, right?
Fantastic. Couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was so good.
It was brilliant, and I think if you you know those bar charts that you get that show the power of where the game is at any given time, and it goes above a line for one team and below a line for the other team. I think that one in the first half will show that we had all the ball, all the chances. If I go back to the Forest game, during the Forest game, I was saying, if we don't put away one of these chances, we're going to come unstuck here. It's going to bite us in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, we got through that unscathed. And then today, we really didn't.
Not at all.
But in that first half, it was like there was something. I was at the front of the cheese wedge, which means that you get all the noise from behind you and you get the noise from the south stand. And the place was rocking. It was bouncing. And I don't know if it sounded that way. Obviously, in the south stand, it's going to sound pretty much the same. And, you're closer to the away fans, which we didn't hear anything from just about in that first half.
Not a peep.
We just, for me, it felt like until 40 minutes, we just had everything our own way. We were bullying them. They weren't in the game. It's in that we were just in that in the zone. It looked like everything that we were trying were coming off, and it was just it was lovely to see. And it was a bit of a sucker punch just before half time. And you're thinking at half time, I went 4-1 in the predictions league, and I'm thinking, well, that's the one at least. We'll come back out here, and if we play anything like we have in the first half, then we'll steamroller them. And my 4-1's not looking a bad bet at this point in time. That's where I was at half time. It did feel to me like there was a watershed moment where something around the 40th minute where something changed, because we'd had it all our way until the 40th minute, and then all of a sudden we couldn't get hold of the ball. Anything that we were trying, the passes were going astray and so on. And I can't put my finger on it. I've got absolutely no idea, no context, no even guess as to what that might have been.
I could nearly pinpoint it now, just as you say it. For me, it all started to go sideways when Firpo committed that foul on the edge of the box. And I think from then, for me, it totally went sideways. Totally, like you said there, we lost all kind of momentum. We lost the cohesion that we had moving forward with the ball. Passes were going astray. It's like it totally fell apart from around that point for me. And I just, like, Firpo was having the game of his life up until that point. And then it seemed like his head just, and then it just seemed like his head just fell off. And he just forgot how to defend again, and it's mad. Like you could see it. You could really see it in the stadium, where the fluidity that we had was just non-existent anymore. It had totally gone, and that carried on from the first minute in the second half. But we won't go on to that yet. That's kind of more of a, let's end it on that note. But let's talk about the positives, you know?
Yeah,
positives
you are
in the
right.
first half.
And I think, so in that first half, when we did play against Forest, and with Adams out, we're pretty much forced to play McKennie and Rocker in the middle. But when we played against Forest, I thought they did well. I thought the both of them played well, and in that first half, it felt like that was a partnership that was continuing to bear fruit. It was going well. There were a couple of big tackles in there, and we love that. We get into that. We really enjoy that as a fan base. I think to a man, everybody does. But it was having to make a tackle was an unusual thing, because we had all the ball and we had all of the field positioning, and so I think there was a continuance of that. But as you say, there was that. That was the point at which Firpo got booked, wasn't it? Because there'd been an incident about 20 seconds before it, and play had continued, and that was that. And it was very much I turned around with my eyebrows raised, and along the row it was, well, it is Firpo, and he nearly made it to half time before being booked. Which is kind of symptomatic of the season he's had so far, really. He is pretty much nailed on, isn't he? So while we're still on the first half, who was your standout in that first half?
I thought we had a lot of joy down the right with Ailing and Jack linking up with Aronson in that kind of free role in the 10 spot. I thought we had a lot of joy down that side. I thought Sinisterra was quiet for large portions of the first half, but it was effective when he was on the ball, I thought Rocca, to be fair to him, had a really good first half. I know second half he kind of fell apart or whatever, and that it wasn't just him, it was the whole team. But I thought everyone to a man was absolutely brilliant in the first half. Well, the first 40 minutes. And it'd be hard to kind of pinpoint one particular player to say he was more outstanding than the rest, because even Silva Rizla had a good run of it as well in that middle of the park spot, and his final ball could be a lot to be desired still, but I think everyone, I thought even the back two of Cock and Strike played very well. They really did kind of command their back line, and I thought that was Cock's first game where he was picking up the mantle of responsibility and kind of helping Strike through it a bit. I don't know, I thought they all played well, though. That's the thing, it's hard to pick one particular player.
No, that's fair.
But I don't know, I think even Bamford and his hold-up play today was very good again, and he got the end product for himself.
It was a good finish, that.
Very, very good header. Difficult header as well, coming off the man and then running around to the front post to get that kind of a knock on, and we oozed confidence, like you were saying earlier. It was just all about us. The charts are probably going to be up here for the first half, and below for the next. But I couldn't individually pick one player there. I think they were all very good. I couldn't pick a man of the match, because the second half they were all as shit as each other. But anyway,
if you were going to pick a man of the match, even though they weren't at the races in the first half, it'd have to be a Palace player. You can't get away from it. I mean, we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to talk about the second half.
Really? Do we have to?
Before we get into that, let's put it off for just a second. Were there anything in the lineup that you thought, I'm a bit surprised at that? I think it was exactly the same 11 as the Forest game, wasn't it?
It was exactly the same, yeah. So,
which actually, for Leeds, that's an unusual thing in itself.
But you can also see the logic as well, that the players are fit, and you don't want to take anyone out of a winning side. And regardless of whether people said Nanto should have been back in after injury or whatever the case may be, then that's never going to wash. Like, because you never change a winning side. Like, you can't do it.
Yeah,
you know.
We played at home 5 days ago and won.
Yeah.
To change that would seem mad anyway. I think. My point is, it's been a long time since we've had somebody that was running the team that was able to put out the same side two games in a row. So
yeah,
that's a new thing for us.
I think bar Verber and Dallas or whatever, I think our squad is pretty much fully fit now. I can't think of anyone else that'd be out, isn't it? There's Dallas, obviously, he's long term, and we don't know how long more Verber is going to be out for. But I think they're the only two.
Just Adams.
Well, Adams, excuse me. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. So 3. So, like, we do have decent cover there, and it was proved during the first half. Like, so yeah. It's weird that we've got a fully fit squad and able to play the same 11 for 2 games in a row. That might even be the third game.
Yeah, I'll go back and check because
oh no, we played Arsenal previously, didn't we? And he started Somerville instead. Yeah,
yeah. And you know, at that point, I thought Somerville were quite unlucky. I know that the defensive cover isn't quite at the level that we would like from Jimmy, but I thought he did well enough in attack to keep his place. So yeah, that was the change. I think the only thing for me is, and this is not a thought I'd had before that second half, so I'm not going, well, I saw this, how could nobody else? On reflection and in hindsight of what's going on, you look at the side and you think, right, okay, so prospective captains, so the club captain's not in the starting 11, and the captain for America that might be our next captain at some point or something along those lines, he's not playing, and then the other leader that's kind of picked up the mantle of that leader at centre back in Verber, he's not playing. So although it might, and you know, Dallas is a leader, and I think he always has been ever since he came into our side. But you look at the people that could be prospective captains going forward, and none of them started. But I mean, none of them started against Forest. So I'm not having a go. I'm just saying that.
Oh yeah.
Those are the players that, when you're really up against it, will grab hold of a team and will drag them through it. You know, Verber, we've not seen that much of, but I think it's pretty obvious that he's got that in him. I'm confident. You know, we've seen it from Cooper in the past, and I'm confident that Adams has got it in him as well. I don't think there's much doubt there. And I think if you look at, you know, we've talked about Cock needing to be managed through games before, and we've talked about, well, not really talked about, but Stroik's a capable player, but he doesn't have the level of experience to manage that through. You're looking at Ailing. You know, Ailing's a vice captain. Ailing's wearing the armband, and I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, I'm seeing there somebody that's harming the team more than he's building the team up and driving the team forward, and that, you know, I've always rated Bill. I think he's been a real asset servant to the club.
Jesus, yeah.
But his form at the moment is so poor, and you know, that goal that we conceded, the header at the back post that came across from their right in front of the south stand, and it was just a passenger. He absolutely lost his man, and then didn't challenge for the ball either. And you know, that should be meat and drink, and he should be the one that's stepping up and driving the team forward. And really, I do wonder if it's a bit of a, who's going to wear the armband if he's not playing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you don't really have anyone in the park that's experienced enough within the squad to be able to take that armband. Like, the only one I could think of logically would probably be Cock if he's playing.
Maybe.
Paddy, yeah. Paddy or Rod, if whichever one, 2 of them are playing.
Well, I don't rate strikers as captains. I always like them to either be a centre midfielder that's going to be in there and running the show, or a centre back where the game's happening in front of them, and you know, they can scream and shout and do whatever else. But Paddy would probably be my choice. It's just I don't like, and you know, you're right to mention Rodrigo. I think the one thing that Marsh got right was giving him some leadership responsibility, because he reacted well to that. He responded well, didn't he? So I mean, either of them two maybe, but equally, they're not people that are gonna tear strips off somebody getting it wrong, or G them up, or get back in there and have a go at them and so on. It doesn't. They don't strike me as that sort of person. But Cock isn't one that'll scream at people. Stroike's not one that'll scream at people. Firpo's not either. So it's a tough one because it doesn't feel like we have somebody that's the ready-made step-in alternative to taking the armband off Luke Ailing while those people that we named are out. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one at the moment.
I think that's probably something that will be looked at in the summertime, because Cooper isn't going to be playing all the time at the moment. If he's fully fit and he still didn't start today.
Yeah.
And that's no slight on Cooper. It's just that's what the manager wants, So I think it will have to be looked at in the summertime as to who's going to be the new captain within the club, because you can still have Cooper as club captain, but team captain needs to be someone with a bit more bite about them there now, I think, that's going to be playing regularly. And then, look, sure, I don't know today now, it could have been given to anybody, for Christ's sake, you know what I mean? But I don't think whoever it would have been would have made a difference. We know how vocal Bill gets on the pitch, even though it was one of his worst games. He's probably one of the most vocal players that we have. And just to kind of look at how Drama's doing at the moment with Luton, you're kind of going, well, look, this kid deserves a chance now next season as well. So that could be. I think Drama would fit in ahead of Christensen for me with the way he's playing. He's constantly hitting the high marks, high score.
I've not seen any of it. I've seen some of the stats and seen some of the feedback. Have you actually watched any of the games he's been playing in?
Yeah, I've watched. Do watch the old Football League highlights and then whatever extended ones be online, just to sort of see what's going on, because God knows we might need to. So I do still follow it a bit, but he's playing some super stuff as an attacking fullback at the moment, and maybe he does deserve his chance, but we'll see.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to pop that up yet.
Oh, right.
That's my fault.
It's all right, no bother.
So I mean, normally what we would now do is we would go through the various different occurrences in the second half. I don't think there's any real positive or benefit for us breaking down what happened. I think we all know what happened. We've all seen what happened. I think, the one thing I would say is I feel sorry for Melier. I don't think he was at fault for much.
I don't think there was a lot he could have done about many of them at all.
No, and there were a couple of times, there were a one-on-one when he came out and scooped the ball away from, was it Ayew that had come through on the right? It might not have been, it might have been Eze. But he came out really well and took the ball. Whereas if he'd got that wrong at all, that'd have been a penalty. I
was right in front of us.
A couple. I think the one thing that I would say, and we've not really highlighted it, is their first choice keeper was out of the game today, and that was their reserve keeper that put on that performance. And the one thing, I didn't say who I rated from the first half, and I think for me it was somebody out of the midfield. So I think McKennie played really well. I think Rocker played well. I think Jackie Harrison played well. I think you're right with Sinisteri, looked good on the ball, but not particularly effective without the ball. With ball, without ball, all of that. I might go. I might go with Jackie, and I think the one thing is that save, Johnston, isn't it, their keeper? That save that he made from Jackie's free kick, that goes in, and we end up steamrolling them. I were really confident that would be the case, because I think that would have been 2-0, and we would have gone from there.
I was saying to Deb, she stands in front of me, I was just saying to her, I was like, this keeper's just going to have the game of his life now. And it's going to be one of them games where, I'd take a draw with the chances that we had. Cock had a good chance from a header, bit of a weak header, but still a good chance. There was one or two from Jackie as well, a few shots peppered in, but he made some great saves where there was a shot put in and it deflected and he still managed to get a save to it. You're kind of looking at those where normally every other day they all go in. They all go in. You know what I mean? And you're kind of thinking, geez, he's going to have the game of his life here. I'd be happy with a draw, you know.
Yeah.
But to come away from that in the second half as to what the fuck happened there, like, you know what I mean? I couldn't. We're going to have to talk about it, man. We're going to have to talk about it. Like, we can't just.
So there's a couple of comments coming. So Russ is along. So Russ has joined us on the show a couple of times. He is a start. The last time we conceded, so this is trying to put a positive spin on the result. The last time we conceded 5 at home in the top flight was against Liverpool. The next home game, Leeds beat Villa 5-2, courtesy of good friend Andrew Dalton, friend of the podcast. And do you know, I'm just going to point this out. So Michael Gott says, first time I've done it today, but therefore I just had to go. Couldn't stand it no more. I was mad as well as embarrassed. Normally, I get pissed off at people leaving. I don't think anybody can have a go at the way that anybody's reacted to what we've seen today. I really don't.
No, I get that. But I think the team have built enough of kind of credit in the bank over the last couple of games to kind of be like, right, okay, lads, just fucking see this one out as a bad day at the office and go again and still kind of need that support. I understand Michael's frustrations. I tell you, like, there was loads of people around me that left, and it's just they have done quite well over the last couple of games to kind of merit the fans staying. You know what I mean? But look, I'm not going to criticize anyone for leaving. If someone wants to leave, that's entirely on them. Like, they pay their money or whatever. Like, but I just feel like they could have done with the fans staying today, just to kind of give them a bit more of an encouragement. Kind of, come on, look, that's fucked it. Like, but
I get that. I do get that. I mean, the one thing. So, I was walking back to the car with Bren after the game, and this is Bren, who is also a friend and part of the pod. He's kind of a silent partner, doesn't like to put himself in the spotlight at all, so doesn't join us very often. But I did have a go at him for going for a beer on 38 minutes, because I do feel like 40 minutes is where we went flat. Well, the stands start emptying at that point, and the atmosphere dims, and we lose a bit of impetus as fans. If that is transmitting to the side that are on the pitch, well,
yeah.
Are some of those fans culpable? Is that too harsh?
I think they're like, maybe that might be a little bit on the harsh side. Like, you know, you're 1-0 up, and I think you can go like it'd be just the same going 38 if you wanted to go for a whiz or something. You know what I mean? So it's much for muchness.
Yeah, but that's
really,
one person, not a crowd of people flocking as they do.
Yeah.
And do you know what that stems from? The services at halftime being absolutely fucking shite.
Oh man, we should do a whole different podcast on just how shit everything inside the stands at Ellen Road is, because you could fill an hour. You definitely.
Because if the board gave us good service at half time, people wouldn't fuck off early.
Exactly.
Right. But anyway, so I mean that's one theory.
Yeah. Danny makes a good point here. It's always good to stay till the end, because he left at half time versus Bournemouth. You won't do that again in a hurry, Danny. Come on.
Michael Brown's been in the comments as well. Congratulations to Patrick Bamford scoring his 50th goal for Leeds, becoming the 35th Leeds player to achieve that feat. Well done.
Fair play, Patrick. Yeah.
And
credit where it's due.
Brown. McKennie and Nonto might be suspended for the Liverpool match. I think they picked up their 5th yellow card. Hasn't that day already passed?
Has it? What? Is it not after Christmas, when in the new year they start again? Is it?
Well, I mean, this season's fucked, in it, because it World Cup.
Oh shit! Yeah.
So, but I thought that date was in March. But if anybody knows in the comments, get involved and let us know, because I think I think it's now 10
Right.
when you get the ban, because somebody, I'm pretty sure
Someone in the
somebody mentioned
comments
it,
Google it there for
yeah.
us and find
Yeah,
out what the whack
go
is, will
find
you?
out and let us know.
Yeah, please. Yeah, because we're super organized here on this pod the whole time. Even though, you know, we do try. We do try.
I mean, to be fair, we've in the EFL, it's only up to the 19th league game of the season.
Okay.
Now, if the Premier League is the same, then you know they're safe and it'd be 10. But we don't know whether that's true or not.
Right.
And that's the only one I saw. So yeah, if anybody can have a look and find out, that would be appreciated. Thank you very much.
Cheers. So the second half, Gilly. How do you want to pick up on that?
Just on that one. So McKennie not being available.
Right.
You know, who we saw at half time on the pitch was Mr. Forshaw. But he did do a warm up at half time, so he might be injured now.
Man, that could very much happen. Honest to God, he could trip over a blade of grass and his hip would be fucked again. And then we're like, So, right, you're right. So with that in mind, if McKinney is suspended, is that what we're going to see? Is it going to be Forshaw stuck into the middle of the park there? Because like every manager he's played under has said he's a very, very tidy footballer. And he is a tidy footballer.
He is, and he's got that ability. You know, we've seen from McKennie the first half today and against Forest. He's got that ability, that innate midfielder ability to just kind of have the ball at the feet and turn, and then all of a sudden have loads of space. And Forshaw's got that in him to be able to take the ball under pressure and to be able to turn and just turn into space somehow, and he just creates himself that space. I think the other thing that would be a positive as well is he is coming up against Jordan Henderson. Now, I don't know if I've ever mentioned to you my thoughts on Jordan Henderson.
I don't think you have, no.
I think with one hip and 10 years past his prime, Adam Forshaw is a better player than Jordan Henderson. So this is the perfect game for him to come back into, because their midfield is shit.
Yeah. Like, we really are stuck if he's not available. Like, because, like, what are they going to put Greenwood in there? Like, I can't see that happening. Like, Jesse Marsh is a fucking lunatic.
Greenwood in there. Yeah, Marsh did that. Not certain whether that would be the option of anybody else, but yes, Marsh did do that.
I'd like to see Greenwood in the 10 role. Anyway.
Russ has come back. Players who accumulate 10 yellows in Premier League matches up to and including their team's 32nd fixture. But when was the 5 cut off? Now, if 10 is 32 games, well, we just played our 30th. I'm expecting we're already past the watershed for the 5 bookings.
But I think, did Russ even say there, this one here?
Yeah. So, but that's why, isn't it? That was the follow-up. So, that's fine. I mean, I've not gone mad here. They're not on 10 bookings, surely.
I can't see how Nanto's on 10 bookings. Like, there's no way.
Oh, he gets booked most weeks.
He's an aggro little fucker, like, but I don't think he's on 10. Surely not. I might have a quick scan of that now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I mean, the other option is JB. You know, we saw him given a little bit of game time around around January time. And we've not seen much of him since. So I think from a viewpoint of where we're at with the midfield, it may be that JB comes into that rather than Forshaw. But either or for me, I think JB's probably a bit better on the ball, certainly more progressive. Forshaw's really steady, and he's not going to give much away. So it kind of depends what Grass is after, really, doesn't it? As to who he might opt for. If it's a bit more dynamism and a bit more athleticism, you don't go Forshaw, you go JB. But it might be that they're fully available anyway. And yeah, Danny points out after his star showing in midfield previously. We could go Rasmus in midfield, which is one that I never saw coming.
No. Let's not do that again.
So you're desperate to talk us through the second half then. Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I do, yeah. What the fuck happened? So we basically started off exactly how we'd finished the first half. Now, there was a comment put in there a little while back that there's a rumour there was a fallout between the players in the dressing room.
Yeah, hang on.
Not quite sure.
Just Vernon with us again. Some fans on BBC Radio Leeds saying they think a fallout happened between the players in the dressing room during halftime. Not sure if true, if you guys think the same. And another one was somebody's mentioned that Ailing's had to go at Firpo at halftime. Now, these are rumours, the comments that have come in, and I don't know whether that's somebody that knows something and can't say anything further, or if somebody's heard somebody that's just pulled it out of their ass. I've got no idea, but something appears to have happened.
Yeah, maybe that's just more wacko, crazy stuff. That site's mad. They come up with all sorts of stuff on that. So you never know. But I'm sure something will come out in the coming weeks. Nanto has 5 yellows.
So Firpo and Nanto all got 5.
Yeah, so I think we're cushy there at the moment. And with the second, like it's hard to digress or to digest what happened in that second half, because how do you put that into words when, like, if you set someone down who'd never watched football before in their lives and just said, here, there's the first half, and then believe it or not, it's exactly the same 11 players coming out for the second half, but here's a totally different way of playing, and they would be convinced that there were totally different players, 11 different players in the second half, because there's no way. I don't understand how it went from so good to so horrible within the space of 15 minutes. And I was like,
and it was absolutely night and day.
Yeah, chalk and cheese. It literally was a tale of two halves. Like, and when you look at it, like, it's going I'm definitely not watching Match of the Day tonight. Like, that's it. I've only watched it 6 times this year. There's no way I can sit there and listen to Dion Dublin say something about the fucking game, and you're like, oh god, you sell homes under the hammer, mate. So it's like, yeah, I think there's a lot to kind of work on from that second half. Where do you think it went wrong, Gilly?
It's a tough one. I think it seems to me that for all of the players to be impacted in the way that they were, something has happened, and it's just it's really difficult to be. So I said it looked like it happened from the 40th minute. They were in the game and they were pushing for the last 5 minutes of the first half. None of that changed into the second half, but I've not seen a side go from having the tails up in that manner to just abject inability to do exactly what they were doing only minutes previous in such a quick time. I've not seen that happen before. If you hit by a quick salvo of 3 goals and you've been 1-0 up and all of a sudden you're 3-1 down, you can see, you understand at that point the heads dropped. Our heads dropped and stayed gone before they scored all their goals. It was already done. And it was like, it's 1-1. We're going into the second half. Right, okay, well, we've not made any changes, so let's have a look at what's going on. And, for the first, what was it, 53, 54 that they scored the first goal in the second half.
Yeah.
It was Ayew, wasn't it? And who's an appalling footballer, but we made him look world class in that second half.
We made them all look world class in that second half. They scored in the 53rd and 55th minute.
Yeah, so Olise and Eze, they're capable footballers, and I think they've got big futures. And them playing well against you, well, they've got that capability to do so. Ayu's a bum. Eduard is a bum. These are not good footballers, and we made them look world class.
Yeah. We did. Like in that first half, they didn't look anything like the way you described them just now. Like, you know, we made them look very, very poor and average. Very poor and average. And we made them look like the team that the press have been writing about, what people have been watching. Like before Roy took over, they hadn't had a shot in like 400 and something odd minutes on target. Then between when Roy took over, they played Wolves to go then to 31 shots on at goal and something like 18 on target, and then go from us to go and get 8
by half time.
Yeah, and then get 8 shots against us today and score 5 of them. How the fuck does that happen? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. Sorry.
Everybody that I've seen comment on Hodgson going back into Palace has all said, you know, well, he's not the right person for them because he's going to shore them up at the back, but that wasn't the issue. You know, they're not going to have anything in attack. Well, I'm afraid I beg to differ because they've just absolutely pummeled us. And it's a tough one because Vieira was supposed to be this progressive, young, up and coming, driven, passionate manager, and Roy was this washed up old has been that was too set in his ways and wasn't progressive enough for them, and they've binned the up and coming, passionate, progressive one and gone back to the other one, and they've just put 5 past us, and it's like, you know, and we'd looked so solid. You know, I know we conceded 4 against Arsenal. But Arsenal can do that to anybody on their day. You know, when Arsenal are playing well and when Man City are playing well, they can put 4 past you and you don't even know it's happening because they're just so good in attack and so fluid. And conceding 5 to Crystal Palace, who I think on paper, you know, their squad doesn't come anywhere near ours. I mean, that's what's really dumbfounding about it is, you know, we're in a position where we've come off the back of a run of fairly good results. I think we were in 7th in the form table, which is night and day from where we'd been. So, you know, and I don't want to get carried away because I think we got a draw against Brighton, which was great. We got beat off Chelsea, which was a bit disappointing because they were on a bad run. And we got beat off Arsenal. Do you know what? Fair enough. But the wins that we'd picked up have been good. And you know, we'd been well worth those wins. And then we have that first half, and then we have that second half, and just I can't make sense of it. None of it's adding up. I think the one thing that I would say, and I'm absolutely not just going to massively get on his case because I mentioned at the top of the podcast that he's been a great servant for the club. You know, he's played a hell of a lot of games. He's played at times when he's been injured. He's played at centre back, even though his position's right back. He's taken pelters for poor performances. I think Ailing's form has got to a point where even those of us that are big fans of him are like, you know, he needs to come out of there. And that goal that we conceded from a header from a guy that's 4'8" or whatever he is, and Ailing got nowhere near. He wasn't even close. He got nowhere near. It was just, you know, not only is it weird, it's crazy to allow your winger to get a run on you in that way when you're so experienced at right back. I mean, how many games has he had for us? He's played hundreds of games. And you know, he's been a stalwart in the Premier League since we got promoted. That's been his position. Rasmus came in to take his position away. He's still starting in front of him. But his form is so bad now, and I don't know whether that's something. You know, somebody said he's had a baby. Is he just knackered? Or I don't care what it is. He's just in a position now where he needs to come out of there because the mistakes are just mounting up, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, he had a howler last week. Well, was it Tuesday against Forest where they scored from a header where he tried to knock it down, and they broke and they scored from that. Then today there was that ball out wide that didn't happen, and they kind of turned it over and went on and scored then as well. Like it's not criticism of him, like you were saying. He just needs to be taken out of it just for now, like, because one mistake like that is kind of right. Okay, two mistakes, all right, yeah, but three mounting up on four, you're kind of like just take him out just for now. Like, you can't leave a man in there who's doing that to himself and at the detriment of the team. You know what I mean? His head's clearly not in a right place if these mistakes are being consistently happening now, where it's 1 or 2 and 3 and 4, and it's like, again, I'm not saying this in a bad way about Ailing at all. I think he's absolutely class. He's been there. There's a lot more games where you can talk about everything good Ailing's done than there is the games where he's been bad, if you get me. You can talk about way more positives about him, but I think now at the moment, I think he just needs to be taken out of there. We need to reshuffle, just get, I don't know, like, I'm not Christensen's biggest fan now, I'll be honest with you, like, but maybe get him in there, see what the crack is. Any of the young lads that might be in there that could come in and slot in at right back and just kind of cover for a bit, or like just something, just get Ailing out of there just at the moment.
Yeah.
But then that begs the question: if he comes out, who do you give the armband to again? Then, you see, so your swings and roundabouts there. Like, you need someone like him on the pitch for being a vocal leader. But then if he's costing us points, then he needs to come out. So you're like, well, fuck it. So yeah. I don't know. I think it's a tough one, and I'm glad I'm not the one making the decisions.
No, it really is. It is a tough one. I think one, I guess, positive out of this that we can take is, I mean, it was a shit show. We're not coming. We can't sit here having watched what we've just watched and say anything other than it was a shit show. But the thing about Palace's running is that their next. Their games from now to the end of the season: Southampton, Everton, Wolves, West Ham, Spurs, Bournemouth, Fulham, Forest. Out of all of those, there's only Spurs and Fulham that are not in the mixer at the moment. Now, I was really confident that if we got 3 points today, that we'd have more than enough in the tank to get us over the line with probably a couple of games to spare. Which I think we need, because our last 2 games are away at West Ham and then against Spurs, which are both going to be really weird fixtures. But before that, we've got Man City. So, and the one before that is the one before that's Newcastle, and then the one before that's Man City, because that's our last 4 games of the season.
The feeling you're giving me there, Gilly, is like watching someone kick a puppy. It's like, oh my god.
The point I'm coming on to, is we want Crystal Palace winning those games against those sides around us.
Yeah.
If anybody is going to climb away from this, we want it to be the side that's already doing that, that's already in front of us. They're in 12th. I think they're, if you look at their running and you look at where they are in the table, they're not safe, because I don't think we would have been safe had we won today. But I do think that they're best placed to just pull away now, which actually, surely we want them to do that and take 3 points off all of those other clubs that they're playing.
Yeah, but it goes back to the whole, you don't want to be relying on other teams, you want to be doing it yourself, but I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. But yeah, I think it's like, I'm always saying it. I hate this whole free hit shit and blah blah blah. We need to, just and trying to rely on other teams to do it for us as well is another annoying kind of thing, because we kind of look at it and we're like, we're good enough. We just need to keep our heads for 90 plus minutes every game.
Yeah.
And like, if we had kept our heads today for 90 plus minutes, we'd have ramped that game. But we didn't even keep it for 45.
Yeah. And if you look at our remaining fixtures, the The Leicester one's going to be really weird if Marsh takes that. And let's be fair, his game is about trying to force your opposition into making mistakes, which we do. That's going to be he's not going to have had long enough with them to ruin them. So I don't know.
Yeah, but at the same time, like we know that the out ball there, as soon as Roca gets it, we saw him do it once or twice today, is just spray it in behind the left and right backs.
Yeah,
that's it. Like we saw it done to us way more than I wanted us to see it done to us. You know,
we've got to hit that thing at the back post, haven't we?
Yeah, that's it. All you got to do, just make sure there's a guy on the back post. Have Jackie or Sinister, just making sure they're coming in late on the back stick. Boom.
Roll it in. No problem.
Just roll it in. Fine. Tap it in.
But yeah, we've got some shit sides still to play. So we've got Liverpool, we've got Bournemouth, we've got Leicester, and they're all awful.
Fulham.
Fulham have been a decent side this season, though.
I know. Yeah, but we have to play them away, like.
Yeah. But we're naming shit sides.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Liverpool, Leicester, and Bournemouth are the shit sides we have to play.
When you put Liverpool in there, I was like, what's he fucking talking about here? He's left out about 8 fixtures there. What?
I was just naming the upcoming shit side. But I've gone from thinking, we're in a good place now, to fuck. In one game, in one half time. In one half of football, I've gone from we'll be all right to shit, we're fucked again.
We're fucked, like we fucked it, like we proper fucked it, like proper, like like the rabbit.
Yeah, I wonder if the fragility that we saw in the second half is just a hangover, because we did go behind against Forest and we came back and won that game. And deserved to. I didn't think they deserved to be in front, and I didn't think we deserved to be behind. And I think we did more than enough to come back at them and get ourselves the 3 points. So I think we coming into this game today, I felt really positive about it, coming off the back of the fact that we'd shown resilience in multiple games. Previously, I thought for at least half an hour against Arsenal, we were. At least a match for them.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off there, Gilly, man.
No, you're right.
I've just locked my brother out, so just bear me a second.
Go let him in.
Hold on. Yeah.
So yeah, the point I was just making, well, he can't hear me anyway because he's taking his headset off. But I think we have shown that we've got the resilience. We ran out. Comfortably beaten in the end by Arsenal, but as I said just now, that Arsenal can do that will do that to a lot of sides. I've done that to other sides. So I think, on balance of what we're looking at,
professional as always. Sorry, to cut you off there, man.
No, that's no problem at all. I was just reiterating the point, and I do think we have that that in us, that resilience. We just didn't show it today for whatever reason. Something's happened, and whatever has happened has happened. I think personally, that Avi Gracia's job, the most difficult task he had before, was overcoming the negatives associated with the squad and associated with the setup, and moving past the difficulties we've had this season right from the outset. I think getting these players up for this next game is a bigger, more monumental task than he had when he first came into the club now.
Yeah, because this next game, even though it's against Liverpool, the way they're playing at the moment, it's again, we said it when we beat them at Anfield before the game. We were like, they're there for the taking. They've been on a run of form that's not consistent enough for them to be in any kind of, but they're obviously a threat with the players to have going forward. But at the same time, you're looking at them going, well, we beat them once, we could beat them again. Like,
but equally, they'll be out for blood because we beat them at their place.
Exactly that as well. Like, so we just need to be on form. Like, don't know how long more Verber is out for. Hopefully
No,
not
he
too long.
plays that
like.
very close to his chest, doesn't he? Willie was supposed to be out for ages, and then came straight back in. So it's a difficult one, that. But he wasn't on the bench again, was he?
No, but like when they say to us, then like they say, "Oh, Verber's back on grass." Like the thing is, Verber be back on grass for 2 weeks before they let us know that he's back on grass. That kind of way. So you're kind of like, when they say that he's back on grass, you're like, right, okay, he's been on grass now for, let's be honest, about 2 weeks now. You know what I mean? And you'd kind of hope that would be a good sign. But like you said, he doesn't give much away. I quite like it. When
it's
I was
frustrating
listening
for
to,
us. It's good that our
it
opposition
is.
don't know, but we'd like to know as well.
yeah. Just give us a little something, just a little something. But I was listening to another podcast as well, and they were basically saying that I know, yeah, it's mad, isn't it? There is other podcasts out there, and they were basically just saying it's harder to get information for articles and stuff like that out of Gracia, because you ask him a question and he gives you a bit of an answer but doesn't give anything away, and it's quite it's very true. Like, you know what I mean? Bielsa did it as well, the same way, where he would give you a little but not a lot, but then he'd say an awful lot that was relevant to a point that he was going to make, where he didn't give you any information, and you're like, all right, I can do it. That's fine. Yeah.
He learnt that, though. Initially, he would have just given you a straight answer.
Yeah, when he'd give you the fucking starting 11.
Yeah, he's in my starting lineup in 4 days' time, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
He learned that over his time in English football, didn't he?
Yeah, I did indeed. Yeah, which was good. So yeah, like.
Hang on.
Do you want to go through a few comments there?
All depends which grass he's on, Carl.
Okay.
Yeah. Mark Jones says yes, but Gilly, we beat Liverpool. We're back in Europe. No probs.
How long have you been on the lash there now? How long, what's going on there? He's been out all day, has he?
Bank holiday weekend.
He's dead right.
Michael says, "Is there 3 teams down there worse than us?"
If Leicester get Marsh, then yeah.
If Everton get a points deduction, then it don't matter how bad they are, how good they are, they're still going down.
Oh man, would that be like happening at all, or is that just totally out of the?
It is being looked at by an independent panel. There's an arbitration going through, and I think that there is an appeal in place. And you'd think, well, they're not going to have that all done in time for it to take effect this season. But Reading's issues, they've had a 6-point deduction, I think it is, and they were charged with their issues in March. So if you can charge a club with issues in March and then hit them in the points deduction in April, well, that's a
surely you can do the same. Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's entirely possible that if there is some wrongdoing to be found. Now, I don't want to stay up because Everton have cheated, but at the moment, I'll take it.
Don't give a shit.
Don't care. I mean, ultimately, they've been shit and have cheated.
Yeah, that's the thing. They've been doubly bastard. Like, yeah, they've been the double bastards that we all know they are. What's the crack with a few comments there? Is coming up?
Colstar and So still in our hands. Just need to keep getting points. Other teams have tougher run-ins, Forest especially. So if I look at Forest, so I've got it in front of me. So they've.
I fucking love that handle, man. Coleslaw on toast, absolutely savage.
So they played us. So they must have already played Villa because that was their next game after us. So did Villa beat them yesterday?
Forest, yeah.
So they've got. So Forest have got Scum, Liverpool, Brighton, Brentford, Southampton, Chelsea, Arsenal, Palace. I mean that is fair to say that is a tough run.
That's a tough run, like.
And they're in a very bad place at the moment. And I know we talked early on about the job that Cooper had on, or Potter, as Smarty likes to call him, that Cooper had on with so many players all coming in, and him not even seeming like he was the one saying that he wanted the players that they got.
Yeah.
I think if you also look at Southampton, so were they beaten by Man City yesterday?
They were, 2-1.
Yeah,
Or
that was
2-0.
a late kickoff, wasn't it?
Or 4-1. Fucking hell.
4-1,
Samsonite, I was way off.
So they've got. So Southampton have got Palace, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Forest, Fulham, Brighton, Liverpool. That's not an easy run either. Bournemouth, however, play a big bunch of sides around them. Everton have got a shocker. And ours doesn't look great. We've got Liverpool, Fulham, Leicester, Bournemouth, Man City, Newcastle, West Ham, Spurs. Ours don't look great at all either. So it's really key, actually, that we get something. If you offered me it now, I would take a draw from the Liverpool game, because if you look at the money that they've spent on their squad, I would take a draw. There's been some comments though that we've had of a win against Liverpool is a must, and I'm not certain how realistic that is.
Like, if we get a draw against Liverpool, that puts us on 30 points, and even if Everton, Forest get a win, they're still not going to be above us because our goal difference is fucking horse manure. So. Yeah. A draw would be fantastic. I would definitely take a draw, without a doubt. Yeah. I'd have taken a draw today, if I'm honest with you, Gilly.
Yeah, well, a lot of people before the Forest game said that they'd take 4 points from these two games. Forest, and Palace. I thought, that means that you're not losing ground on whoever you draw with, and you're gaining ground on everybody else if you get the win. So I think that was a logical thing. But once you got your 3 points against Forest. Yeah, we all want 3 points against Palace. D does ask if Intertoto qualification is still within reach. I think technically it might be. I think Palace are now only 6 points behind Fat Frank's Chelsea, which is the further frustration for me as well. I think if we'd have got 3 points today, I would have been putting money on us finishing above Chelsea.
You could see that happening.
Yeah, he's bad.
It's more club. It's more club. Right, yeah, Frank. Yeah. You forked out 400 billion for it, did you?
Yeah. Mark fucking Jones lets us know that I think this must be Weber was in the tunnel, if that means close.
Oh.
Okay. Liam asked the question of, do we know how bad Weber's injury is? I don't think we do. I don't even know what's injured. Was it his
hamstring?
thigh?
I thought it was. Yeah. Was his thigh or his hamstring? One of them. We don't get anything now.
No.
Haven't a clue, unfortunately.
Players should know anyway after that performance, and let's hope they notice the empty seats. I mean, we are looking for a reaction from these players.
Big time. Like, if this is a pinnacle moment in their career and in their in our season, that the reaction needs to be hard and fast on Monday night.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Am I right in thinking the last time we played Liverpool on a Monday night, it was that infamous Yeboah goal? Can someone confirm in the league? Is that the last time we played them on a Monday night in the Premier League? Could be that Yeboah goal. Can someone
Who's the
confirm
most likely to
or
repeat
deny
it?
I'd probably from left field say Aronson for some daft reason. For just some daft reason. Because he's playing in that hole, that 10 role there. Just for some daft reason, I'd be like, how the fuck has his wrist and legs done that? Just for the crack. I think it'd be mad. It'd be mad, wouldn't it? I can't, just for a bit of crack.
You are right, you would be mad. I mean, I'm being accused of being mad. That is
mad.
Why
is that?
I don't know.
Why is that?
It was about 6 minutes ago, so whatever we're talking about at the time. I don't know.
Yeah, they all blend into each other at this point.
Yeah. Michael Gott says FFP is joke, should be acting soon in the Prem. Remember, we got points deduction and it happened more or less immediately. That was a trigger point they wanted. That was going into administration, which is always a points deduction off the back of. So that's why that just kicked in. But yeah, I mean, the club knew going into administration would have resulted in a points deduction.
Danny has put this one up here.
Go on. You go.
Just this one from Danny. He said, think it could be about Monday night, and he reckons Nanto to get that mad goal. from the edge of the box.
Yeah, I think it would be lovely to see. I mean, imagine the celebrations. I think the most likely was it Wolves? He did it. I think the most likely is Paddy because he wasn't far away from one today. And he did score when I know it got a tiny deflection, but he did score when I think it was Wolves that was it the first one against Wolves? Jackie had it on the left, he played it inside him. Paddy inside and he hit it with his right, and it just got a slight deflection and went in off underside at bar. So yeah, maybe, but the one that Bandy just said, I've been waiting over 50 years for Everton to go down, so we can assume that they will be safe.
Yeah.
They're fucked. If they go down, they are properly fucked. The amount
and they've got
spent, the amount they owe.
And a new stadium as well. Like they're yeah. Are we ready for
championship?
I think we know how to counter the penis formation now. Anyway, just all you have to do is play football. That's all you've got to do. Just play football, and you can counter the penis formation.
Well, these players won't go wide, so all you've got to do is have the ball on the wings, and they won't come for you.
Yeah, they won't go near you. I'm
Danny
staying 4
being
points.
very positive. So our next 2 games are Liverpool at home and Fulham away, and he's taking 4 points from that. So that would be nice.
You want crack, Danny? just checking.
Steve Brown thinks we need 37 points to be safe. I think it'll be lower than that this season. I think if you look at the number of sides down there, I think it's conceivable that it'll be lower.
Yeah, like you were saying there earlier when you were going through the fixtures, there's a lot of teams in that lower half playing each other, so there's going to be a lot lower points scored, I think, depending on how results go in that one, you know.
Yeah.
Be all right, though. Yeah, it's going to be close.
It is. Liam B says Cine to repeat. I think that must be the Evo goal. And then Michael asks, would you bring some leadership at centre-back if not Verba and Cooper for Strike? I wouldn't be dropping Strike.
No. I knew you wouldn't. But I thought I was watching a few of Cox's tackles today and the way he was positioning himself. I thought he played quite well. You know, as a parent, you could see it was kind of substantial, but clearly not at the end of the day. But you know what I mean? Like it wasn't his worst game.
I mean, it'd have to go for him to be his worst game. But yeah, Bandy agrees with Audrey. He's going out.
Hey, thanks, man.
Coleslaw on toast thinks it's Forshaw.
His leg will fall off. Jesus Christ. The hip displacement and all sorts of shit if he tries to do that. Like,
Russ is clearly on one form of grass or another. 6 points next 2 games for me. I mean, if we get that, wow.
If we get 6 points, Russ, man, you can predict every score going for, or every, win or loss for the remaining ones and see how you get on. I'll put a bet on.
He is one, but I don't think we've mentioned him. But Jonathan Martin says, I think Rocker could be a good captain, as he says his mind anyway to ref and does hype up the players. He were building the crowd up as well against Forest. He were giving the crowd some. So maybe, I mean, he's got the experience. He's not one that immediately came to mind, but given the leadership types that we've got out of the side at the moment, he might be somebody that could step up to that.
Do you think would he be consistent enough to be a good captain though? That's the thing. Like, because you make him captain and he has like up and down games, and you're kind of like, right, okay, he's only in the team now because he's captain, and don't get me wrong, that's not a. I'm not slagging him now by any means.
The armband on though, rather than making him club captain or team captain. Is this just while we've got people out? Is this somebody that could wear the armband? Maybe.
Oh, excuse me. All right, sorry. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Perhaps. Yeah. He, like you said, he is very vocal, and yeah. I would say so. He's one of the elder players in the team. Like, so
at 25 or whatever he is.
Well, he is though. Like what is he? Yeah. Is Jackie even 25 yet? Like, you know what I mean? It's how old is Jack?
25, like, isn't he?
Is he? Yeah. And sure, even the American captain is 23, for Christ's sake.
True.
So he's an elder statesman in that midfield when you've got McKinney beside you who's only 21 or something. It's like, what the fuck? So yeah, he's like an old dude.
And yeah, they get to 27, 28 and just about over the hill, aren't they, Carl?
Oh, finished. Take him out.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you've been calling for Luke Ailing to be put to pasture for what, 4 years now?
It's not that long, is it? Jeez, I don't even think we're doing the pod that long. Like, I never. Yeah, okay. Like that's always going to crop up or whatever. Yeah, but it was just at the time. It was just
No, you're right.
On.
It's not 4 years. It's only 2.
Oh, that's okay. Sweet.
He was 29. He's nearly 32 now.
See, I called it.
Liam B thinks it'll be 34 points to be safe.
Not unrealistic, Liam.
Russ, Stroik might need to be left back if Firpo's missing due to concussion protocols. It's a fair shout because if it is, Firpo will be out for that game because it's 10 days, isn't it?
But we did see Christensen coming in there today as well, and he has previous playing left back for RB Salzburg. So there is options there.
When we were watching before he joined, I think it were almost 50-50 split as to when he'd scored. I think he scored something mad like 16 goals.
Yeah, he had a heap of assists.
Yeah, I think one was with his head, and 8 with his right and 7 with his left, or something mad like that. It was a really even split. So you're thinking, well, surely if he can score goals with his left reasonably regularly as well as he can with his right, then he can play out left as well. And
yeah, they
are professional footballers. They should be able to do that. It's the same position. It's just on the other side of the pitch.
I was just going to say, yeah, like the amount of money they get paid. When the one thing that really annoys me is like when you hear the commentators going, "Oh, he's struck that with his weaker left foot or his weaker right foot," and you're like, "Motherfucker, these guys get 80 grand a week. They are not allowed to have a weak left nostril. They need to sort that out." I hate that. Like that's up there on the free hit scale for me. That shit. His weaker left foot.
Yeah, and let's be fair. We just talked about Bamford with hitting the one against Wolves with his right. Well, I'm sorry now. Next time he's through on goal, and it's easier on his right than it is his left. If he takes it with his left, he needs shooting.
Yeah, brought out the back. Yeah, brought out the back like a lame horse at Cheltenham and just walk on, go on. That's it. Off with you.
Oh, here we go. Michael I'm off early from this podcast, following my trend for the day. Well, I reckon we're at about 85 minutes, Michael. Yeah. So you probably want to make your way onto the car now. We can beat the traffic.
Beat the traffic. It's sound. Yeah. Thanks for joining, though, Michael. Man, yeah.
Just running through. Make Firpo captain. What story that would be? If Verber back against Poole and Ailing gets dropped, then Verber is man. I think that's if Verber's back and nobody else comes back. I think he probably would be anyway. Jackie's 26. Bully says.
Okay.
Did you see McKinney do anything in the second half? Yes, he got ran around a lot. Steve Brown, was any player worth more than 5 out of 10 today?
In the first half, yes. In the second half, no.
I think in totality, even with the second half.
Well, you can't pluck anyone out there, Gilly.
No, I think the only people that I would potentially even give a 5 is Paddy scored a goal and while he was in the game looked handy. I think he wasn't even in the game in the second half. Now, a lot of that's not down to him. If the side isn't getting the ball to him, so maybe it's slightly harsh to put him on a 5, but only slightly because he didn't do anything in the second half. And I felt that Melia couldn't have done much with them. But I think the long and the short of it is no player earned more than a 5 out of 10 today.
Yeah, if they earned more than 5, if they earned more than 5 out of 10 in the first half, they absolutely obliterated that in the second half, and that's it.
Yeah. Like, Matt Jones says 40 points to be safe. I mean that would be that would be fantastic, but it won't take anything like that to stay up.
I don't think so.
I don't. So Michael says, if we survive this season, I just hope we rebuild insensibly. My heart just can't take this anymore with lower table battles. Now, don't forget, our CEO made us really confident in the fact that there was no chance of us being in a relegation battle this season. So I think we're just looking at it wrong. We must be.
I'm looking at it with my eyes closed, man. Standing there going, no, we're not in that relegation. If I can't see the table, then it's not happening. As simple as that. Like, I can't do it. No. So, yeah.
Michael Brown says, I spoke with a West Ham content creator and he believes 33, 34 points will be the safety net. Now, safety net's an interesting way of putting it. I think a side that's on 34 points is likely to stay up this season. It might be on goal difference. I can't cope with that being us. If you guaranteed me it now, it'd be great. It'd be fantastic because I know that we're staying up, but nobody can do that. So,
well, we're only like 4 to 5 points off that total at the moment. So, you know, that
might be all we get for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's like a win and 2 draws, isn't it? It's like, oh God, where's that coming from?
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I've had enough. I don't know if there's any more points you want to make. I've had enough. We've talked for an hour and 10 minutes. I don't know why.
I don't know how, but yeah. Like, talking about a defeat like that is like, oh, okay, fair enough. I'm worn out as it is from watching it.
When we started.
It's always good to talk, like, you know what I mean? It's gotten me through the evening now. I'll go downstairs and I'll stick on a movie and I'll just be like, Harry, you know what? That was grand.
Fuck match of the day.
Fuck match of the day. No way. I've only watched it 6 times this year and I'm definitely not going to be watching it tonight.
Just a couple of real quick things. So the main podcast is coming up on Tuesday night. I haven't checked who's on it. I just know that I'm not. Luke's on it in my stead. So I'm not on it. But on that, they will be talking about a couple of things. So there's a couple of dates coming up for the Andy's Man Club going and doing some walks, and there's some other bits going on. With a competition running, I believe, until the end of the main pod. So it will be running during the main pod. It's not, I guess it's not really a competition. It's you do win an auction, but you still have to pay for it. So there is a signed shirt from the 2001 season that's available. It looks a cracker. It really does. I can confirm we have had some bids in. So have a look at what's available to you and how much you want the shirt and see what sort of bid you're willing to make. I can't even remember whether we actually publicly said what one of the bids was. So I'm not going to do it now just in case we haven't done that because it is a silent auction. But yeah, whatever you can afford.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Whatever you can put forward. I think one of the bids was made publicly though, or maybe it just flashed up as maybe it just flashed up as a notification that was in the DMs on Twitter. And I just saw it and thought it was a tweet. I'm not certain, so I'm not going to say any of the amounts. But yeah, if that's of interest to you, and it should be, it does look a class shirt, and it does have all of those signatures on. So if you're up for that, and just the last bit is not for some unknown reason. I know exactly why we did it, but someone, namely me, speaking to a member of another pod, LS11, Big Lou. We were talking about the Leeds United Foundation having funds raised for it, and then those funds not being passed across, and potentially what could we do about that? So we decided as a group. So myself and Carl and Big Lou, and then Luke and Bren from the Ought to Know Better pod, that we were all going to under our own steam make our way the equivalent of to the Spurs Stadium and back. And do so within 58 days. And to be fair, you know, we are well underway. We're doing pretty well. But there have been times, and I don't know if everybody watching saw my video through the week. It was very rainy. It was very gloomy. I was getting splashed by traffic as it went past, and I was just in a bad place. But no, there's been a lot of generosity already. But anything that can be spared, it goes towards the Leeds United Foundation, who are going to provide us with some content so we can share videos, show what good stuff they're getting up to. But they do go and work in the community. They work in youth centres and they work in schools and with youth teams across the district. So they do some real good stuff across Yorkshire. So anything that you can spare, we'll get the Just Giving link that is linked directly to the charity. None of that money comes to us to be passed on. It goes straight to the charity. So you can be confident that every penny that is raised goes straight there. So yeah, if you can spare anything at all, then that's really appreciated by all of us, and your encouragement has helped as well. So thanks everybody that's encouraged and shared and done all of those bits as well. So if you can keep doing that for us as well as we share our pain with you, then that would also be appreciated.
Yeah, I have to go and do 14 miles tomorrow on the bike. Well, hold on. I need to check how many I did today, and then whatever. Fix it tomorrow. I'll catch up. It's fine.
Get out walking, boy. You'll be fine.
Oh, just stop me. Achilles is killing me.
Falling
Man. I
out
can't
with
do
you?
that. No, he hasn't yet. But my Achilles is falling out with me, so that's why it's still on the bike.
Well, I've done 7.8 today because I made Bren walk from the White Rose with me and back.
And
so we got 4 miles in just there.
Just out of curiosity, do you park at the furthest part towards Sainsbury's and walk in then?
Normally, no. I park in the closest one, but that car park was closed today because it was Easter Sunday, so we had to park up at the food court bit because that was the open car park. So we parked there and then walked through. So
I've done 3.5 miles today.
Get on it.
Yeah.
Get on it.
Yeah.
Everybody give him some shit online.
Yeah, my brother's just jumped in there and just wanted to say he's not the toughest interrupting the pod for Carl. Let me in, Gav. It's all right, bro. No panic at all.
Get him a beer. It'll be fine.
I will have 2 in the fridge. It's fine.
Nice one. Thanks everybody for getting involved in the comments as well. It always does help, especially when it's a shit show like we saw today. Thanks very much, Carl.
Take care. It's nice to get on with you. See you later.
See you all later. Bye.
Bye.